It is Thursday, November 21, and as I expected, from what I mentioned in my last video, snow expected today. Light flurry, but this is first snowfall here in Chicago. It's 29 degrees right now. Fairly cold. So I wish I would have done a little bit more in my last video for the pond closing. You always think we have a lot of time, but again, and it's coming down hard right now. Just gonna try to save some of these water lettuce, but you can see it's ice, it's frozen. So these are all gone, dead. What I'm gonna do is turn this over because I don't want it to crack. I'm gonna see if I can save some of these and put this in the shed. See how many grows. I don't think so. It's so cold right now. Not wearing gloves and my hands are freezing. Let's just put this in the shed. Let's see if we can save some. Alright, let's put this in here. See if we can salvage it. That water's ice cold. I don't think it's gonna survive, but let's see if we can. Got some of my plants there also. It's starting to come down hard. I want some of these things to crack, so I'm gonna put them away. It's 29 degrees, y'all. Okay, this is my basil. I think it froze. I think it's frozen. I don't think it survived, but let's see if we can thaw it out. This is frozen. I'm gonna have to cut that back. As always, as you can see, my pond's always been crystal clear, but during the winter time, the water gets even clearer. Now let's put you, oh, it's frozen. Let's put you away, little fishy. It's just a resin, so it's gonna crack. I ran out of time this year to put electrical in this shed studio. So that's gonna be the plan for next year, so that we can have power in here, and I can actually run some heater. Maybe we got enough windows here, so I think we can start winterizing some of the tropical plants. Then I gotta clean up this shed even more. I started this year, but not enough. I could certainly get rid of more of these, so it's a usable space. And for the time being, I have this grow lights that I had inside. I had that in the garage initially, winterizing my plants. They're gonna look pretty bad by the end of the season. It's not here to grow them, but enough to keep them alive, and then when we bring them out in the spring, they'll bounce back up just like this one. It's you know, by January, February that you think that would be dead. So for the time being, I just had that on the battery, on a timer, 9 hours, and I can just keep changing that on a daily basis if I need to, or you know, on some days where we don't get some sun. But generally, we get sun from this window and that window. So let's leave that on. That's gonna stay on for about 9 hours at least. So at least they can have some full spectrum. Snowball fight. Yeah, it's kind of coming down hard, unexpected. It is Sunday, November 23. Let's do a little bit more cleanup. It's 40 degrees right now. So I cleaned it up a little bit. And let's see right there, we're adding a little bit more water. Fish are still active, but you can see in the winter time it gets colder, that water becomes even more clear. And again, that might change for next spring. I really want something that's a little bit more low profile, I think, so it doesn't get so high, so that we can have a lot more view of pond. But let's trim this back, because at some point we're gonna have to put the cover on. No, I'm not cutting it back too much. You can see that that hanging basket pot that I put in there for a lizard tail. It's pretty much all messed up and it's outgrown, so I need to address that in the spring. See it right there. So something's going on there. I don't want to mess with it now. I'll deal with that in the spring. So we're getting this ready. We're gonna put him in the pond, but we're not gonna turn him on yet. We're just getting it ready. Today is Sunday the 24th. It's a little bit warm, probably in the 50s, 60s, so you can see the fish are more active than they were yesterday. But we are gonna put this in the pond, get it acclimated, and have it ready. All right. So this is a Laguna 315 watt de-icer heater. Its purpose is to during winter time, so that the top of the pond doesn't freeze. It creates a hole so that dangerous gas from underneath, decomposing materials and so forth, waste, escapes the pond. But once we put the cover on this, since I've been putting the cover since the very beginning, we've never had the issue with top of the pond freezing, because I think we do with that plastic cover, it does keep the heat in. But that's just in case when it gets to those really cold weather, we turn them on, right? And this one right here is just a, I don't know, a small pump that I put in here, again just to break. You'll see this as when I hang the cover, when we shut up the main pump for that. This will kind of circulate the water and drift on the surface, and again, if there's that creates movement in the surface of the water, so that the pond doesn't freeze up on the top. All right, so we're gonna get that right. And as you can see, just so you see, I have this color coded at the end of them. Put that somewhere in there. And again, when we put in the cover, we're gonna finalize it, but all my electrical plug is down there, so we're gonna throw that on that side. Let's clean this up a little bit. See some of that gunk that's settling on top there, but you can see my homemade sieve filters. This is my homemade poor man's sieve filter. This is just a pond basket and then vinyl screen that you would put on your window and door screens from Home Depot, very cheap. And then just crumpled up a couple of pieces like this, the inside, and that's the primary filter before it goes on to the sponge ones. You can see we have several layers of this in there, and throughout the years I don't throw this away. And the one that gets really bad, like maybe next year we'll replace the top one, but I think it's still good. And then we'll add another padding in and we'll put it at the bottom. There's about 4 or 5 of them. And this is just a buffer filter. You can get this at like Home Depot or Ace Hardware, where you buff floors, vinyls and concrete or what's so. It's a rotary one that spins around. These are the pads. Come in different grits. They have some red ones, which I think are reinforced, and a blue one. And this is the white one, which is I think the final buffing you use. I always use the white one. It's the finest, and also because the other ones have color-coded red and blue, and I just don't know what type of dye they use there. So I've always used the white one. It's like, I don't know, you can buy this for maybe about $3-4. And again, this will last for years. This one I probably hit, the top one I probably had for several years, but the rest of them I've had it since, you know, over 5 years. And if it just goes bad, we just throw them away and we add another one in. And at the very bottom of that drum, there's maybe a 2-inch foam, finer foam, kind of buffering before it goes back in the pond. And that you can get from like Joann Fabrics or what's not. The padding they use when, you know, they make for sofa and so forth. It's just a foam. It's all the way at the bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this up a little bit, and it's pretty easy. Okay, turn it over. And that's done. Other side. This is the one that gets dirty because it's the very top one. But again, just turn it over and clean it on the other side. And we just go ahead and put it back. You can see several layers on the wall. Now let's clean the DIY sieve filter. You can see it catches all kinds of stuff in there all the way to the bottom. So we'll clean that up and put it back the same way. Alright, that's done. We'll put it back. My DIY sieve filter. You know what? I should be careful. Not saying that it's a sieve filter. There's a lot of koi enthusiasts out there. I should just say modified version. This is my modified version, manual sieve. Of course, I'll have some hate comments there. Die-hard koi enthusiasts, because you know, generally koi and any type of hobbies, it's a big business. So you know, the industry doesn't want you to tap into any of that money that they could be selling. It's a big money business, but so, and I don't want to discourage people from doing a koi pond because they think it's very expensive. And my pond has basically two mechanical that's running. It's that 3,000 gallon pump, magnetic pump. I've had it since the very beginning. It's a pretty good inexpensive pump, and it was one of the best when it was released at that time in early 2000. It's a Donner 3,000 gallons per hour pump. And the other one I have is the skimmer. So you got one small pump and one large pump. That's it. That's all I have running on that pond. No UV filter, none of that stuff. And so again, everything is based on you know, what works for you. I've been keeping fish for a very long time, since I was a kid, and it just takes a little bit of brain power, not money necessarily. So for those who wants to build a pond, all you need to do is keep it to the minimum, and it does work. And I'll show you how. And I never have to change my water at a significant amount like most people do it every spring when they open up the pond. I usually top it off maybe for that first one when I run the pond. I've done that when start up, and you can see the videos on that. Maybe I'll change like, you know, 10-15% of the water, let it run without the filters until all that dissolved things, leaves and so forth, gunk that accumulate during the winter time, get most of that stuff out. And maybe I'll net the pond, trying to skim it with my little, again with my swimming pool net over there. Again, you don't need to buy a pond net for getting rid of the stuff from the water. That's from one of those old portable pool. You can get that at Walmart if you don't have it. So it just takes a little bit of creativity. Use your brain power instead of dollars. All right. So again, the only mechanical things I'm running on that is my pump for that main one. It's gravity fed, going all the way through a plants, and the skimmer, which we're gonna clean in a little bit. And I do find that I do need a skimmer to get rid of some things on the surface and just keep it clear. All right, and once in a while, I just have that. The hose that I cut up directly to the faucet. I top off the water when I need to. No need to drip it and so forth. Just directly from the faucet. It all depends on your cities. Generally, we have a pretty good water system here, but all these fish have grown in this pond, so they are used to it, familiar with it. You can see the water's clear, even though I know it's overstocked. But anyway, went off the tangent there with some info about the pond, not necessarily closing, but we're gonna go clean that skimmer a little bit. There you go. And let's get rid of the leaves a little bit. Use our swimming pool skimmer. I never had to buy all of these. Anyway, I usually found these in the garage sale. The great thing about this is the poles extend, so same thing. We got the heater. It's kind of hanging out here, and so it's a small pump, but we're not turning it on yet.